Have you ever wanted to kick yourself for making the wrong decision? I think probably most of us have. I know thinking back on my life, there are all of these different moments where I just wish that I would have done the other thing, done the opposite of whatever I did do. And hindsight's always 2020. But what if I were to tell you that there's a way to make decisions way more effectively so that you are way more likely to make the right decision in key moments of your life? Because the reason why I'm making this video is because I think that decisions really change the trajectory of our life. Every single decision that we make slightly alters our destiny when you think about it. I mean, if you make the right decisions, you're going to have better relationships, you're probably going to be making more money, you're going to be making decisions that provide better health, you're going to be making decisions that basically just improve your life, right? But in contrast, if we make the wrong decisions, then that's where all the pain comes in. That's where, ill health comes in. That's where conflict in our relationships come in. That's where, we don't have the financial abundance that we want. Maybe we're just completely broke. And being completely broke, usually we can trace that back to some bad decision that we made. And so in this video, I'm going to be talking about two different strategies for making the right decisions. The first strategy that I'm going to talk about has to do with making important decisions, right? Really substantial decisions, how to really analyze the data, take a look at everything, and then make the right decision, as a general would in battle. Life is kind of the same way. We need to really plot and strategize, especially when we're making the important decisions, like, what are we going to take in school? Who are we going to marry? Should I marry this person? Other key decisions that we have in our life. Should I buy this house now or should I wait? Should I buy this car or should I buy a used car? And there are different ways of weighing the pros and cons of everything, and we're going to go over that in this video. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how to make daily decisions that isn't such an in-depth process, but how to make the right key decisions throughout your day. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit in this video. So let's get started first with the big decisions. And I took notes here because this is a complex thing. I want to make sure that I didn't leave anything out here. So the first thing that we want to do when we're making a key decision are lay out the facts. Okay, so what is this decision? Like, you might be in a relationship. You're like, should I leave this person? Should I leave this person? What are the facts of the situation? Okay, not what are the feelings, but what are the facts. Lay down the facts. Be like, okay, this person's treating me like this. How am I treating this person? Just write down all the facts. All right, now if it's buying a house, write down the facts. How much money do you have in the bank? How much is the house? How much is the interest going to be? Lay down the facts. Just get all the information possible, non-judgmental. Right now you're not judging it. You don't want to put only information that sways you in one direction, like, oh, they're treating me so horrible, and blah, 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 but you don't write down the facts. You just go write down, just dump all the data out of your brain onto paper. It's going to help you organize this information so that you can process it much better, okay, than in your head. And the second thing, once you get it down, so do this on a piece of paper. Now, I don't know if you're in the midst of making a key decision right now, and that's why you're watching this video, or you were just one of my subscribers and you saw this and you thought that, hey, this would be a good tool under my tool belt. But either way, when you're making the decision, get out a sheet of paper. If you're making one right now, you might pause this and get out a sheet of paper and just do this along with me. That way you will know what you should do by the end of this video. So what is it that I want from this situation? What is the outcome that I'm after? What is it that I want to achieve? Okay, I think that that's a big problem with a lot of people with decisions, is they kind of just go with whatever emotionally feels right in that moment without thinking about the consequences, because every decision has a consequence. Okay, and so what kind of consequences do you want? So if you're dealing with another person with this decision, say, okay, well, what is it that I want for me out of this situation? What is it that would make me feel good about this situation? All right, and what is it that I want for this person that I'm in this, that's involved with this decision that I'm making? Or these people. I mean, if you're a CEO and you might be having to lay off some people or not, Just look at all of the different elements. You know, you might look at the business in that situation as another element. Like, what is your intended outcome? What is it that you want for all of the different puzzle pieces involved with this decision? Okay. If it's a car that you're buying, you know, what is it that I really want in a car? You know, do I really have to have the Mercedes, or you know, is this other car going to be okay? Because maybe it's not good for me to go so far into debt right now. You know, like whatever it is for you, just make sure that you get all the elements out and identify what you want for each one of these elements that is involved. Okay. The next thing is, um, what are my options now? So now that I know what I want, what are my options to take me there? What are all of the different options right now? Now, one of the options might be do nothing. All right, it doesn't matter. Just write down every single option that you could possibly take right now to take you where you want to be, or just even not take you where you want to be. Just write down every option you can think of. Brainstorm them all out, get them all out there, because what this is going to do is it's going to get your brain to think more creatively, think outside of the box. That way, like the decision isn't so binary. It's not just between two choices, because sometimes when making decisions, things are complex, but we try to make them very simple. So it's like, I either do this or not. So like, you want to help somebody, or maybe your family member needs help. Okay, so let's say your family member needs help, and it's either yes or no, right? I can help them or not. Well, what this does is it makes that way more abstract. It gives you way more options. You want to think of at least 4 different things that you could do right now. You know, on this section of the paper, like, what are 4 things I could do? 1, I could do nothing. 2, I could lie. 3, yeah, I mean, you know, that might be against your principles, but just think of all of the different options that you could possibly take. Yeah, I could pay them, you know, and don't go into the consequences yet. Don't go into the consequences, because the consequences, like if I pay them, I'm not going to have money for my rent, or I'm not going to be able to make my payment on my house or whatever. So don't think of the consequences yet. Just think of the different options, every single option that you could take right now to resolve this issue, whatever you're onto. All right. And so now is the time to think of consequences. So what will happen if I take each one of these different decisions, these different options? All right. So what will be the outcome of option number 1? Write it down. What will be the option of outcome number 2? Write it down. Decision number 2. What will be the option, or what will be the outcome of option number 3? Write that down and fill them all out, because that's going to help you kind of flush out all of the data and knowledge onto this paper. That way you can analyze it even further. All right. Now I know that this sounds like a lot right now, but it's really a small thing, because if you just take the time to do this, it saves you from making bad decisions. And bad decisions, they're the worst kind of decisions. I mean, obviously, right? So once you get all of the consequences down onto paper, you can put, how can I fuse some of these options together? So you start to look at them a little bit different. It's not so black and white. Like, you can kind of find gray areas where you can do different things. Like, one of the things, if going back to the helping the family member scenario, like, you might have thought of, maybe I could get someone else to help my family member right now. You know, like maybe Aunt Sarah, like maybe she would be able to do that, or maybe a few people could pool their resources and help this person right now, even though I can't. I might be able to make some phone calls and get something to happen. All right, now that might have been something that's like, you know, before you're just thinking binary, yes or no, but now you're like, wait a minute, there are different options. Or maybe, you know, I could throw in like a couple $100, and if someone could do it, and you start to think a little bit, the lines of options become more blurry in this portion, and so you're able to synthesize new ideas that you wouldn't have thought of without going through this process. Okay, and so this is what I do to make my difficult decisions today. Okay, and so I credit this process to why so much of my life has been working out so well here recently. And I mean, you know, I went through this process. Like, do I want to make YouTube videos? Is this going to be worth my time in the long run? And obviously I decided that it would be, and so here I am. And so now that you have a blend of different options, look back up at your outcome, say, okay, this is what I wanted for each element involved in this decision, with each person involved, each different priority involved in this decision. Like, this is what I want out of this situation. And now that you have a decision, essentially you have an option that you can take that looks pretty good, right? Because you wrote down all your different options and you're like, wow, this actually looks pretty good. Like, now the last step is decide. Say, you know what, this is going to be my path of doing this. Like, this is my decision. Just decide to do it. Cut off all of the other options because you already analyzed this, and you're not going to think of a better way to do it, likely, than you just got out all this information on your pad of paper, and now you've decided. Okay, so that's the first way to make a decision. Okay, now that's like for big decisions. That's like if to marry this person. That is like to buy your house. That is to, sell everything and start traveling the world type of decisions. Okay, these are like the big decisions. To leave your spouse decisions, like whatever it is for you. These are the big decisions that you want to go through this big process. And the process really doesn't take very long, under an hour, definitely. You could probably do it in 15, 20 minutes. But the reason why I talk about it is because it gets all this information out and lets you more intelligently and logically make the right decision, and you will always be thankful for yourself for making that decision versus making whatever your gut tells you at the moment, and you might be regretting that in another year or two down the road. You'll be like kicking yourself, be like, man, I made the wrong decision there. Because like I said at the beginning of this video, we've all made decisions that we regret, and the whole point of this video is to help you not do that again, okay? And so the second part of this video, I'm going to talk about daily decisions, or decisions in the moment, all right? And so the way that you do this is you start off with knowing you're basically what you're after in your life, okay? And so you need to break that down into your health. You need to break it down into your relationships with others. You need to break it down with your money. You need to break it down with your work, and break it down just in the different things, your health. And what is it that you're after with each one of these sections of your life? Like, what would be satisfying to you? What would be something that's like, you know what? Like, yeah, something you could be proud of, something that would be a good image for your life. Okay, so like, what kind of relationships do you want? What kind of body do you want? What kind of money do you want? And I'm not talking about like setting like massively huge goals here. Not everybody needs to be a multimillionaire. Not everybody needs to be a bodybuilder. Not everybody needs, to be a globetrotter or anything like that. But whatever it is for you, like, what is it that's in your heart? What is your heart desire? And just kind of write those down. Write them down in each different section. Be like, okay, well, what do I want my body to look like? And set some goals. Say, you know what? Like, why don't I just go ahead and decide right now to improve my life over the next few months? I'm just going to try this and see if it works. And I'm going to do just one simple thing each day to improve each one of these categories of my life. Why not try it? I mean, maybe it won't work. Maybe this guy on YouTube right now is lying to me. Or maybe he's actually telling me something. And I bet you that you feel somewhere in your gut that what I'm saying is true. Because I'm speaking completely from my heart right now. Because this is exactly what I do. And this is exactly what's providing like amazing results for my life right now. And I wanted to make amazing results for you too. By the way, if you're liking this video, go ahead and hit subscribe for me. I'd appreciate that. My numbers are going up, and I want to see them go up even faster because my goal right now, I want to get to 1,000 subscribers because it's going to help me get to even more people here on YouTube because I'm making these videos. I want to help people meet their potential and expand the capacity of who they are so that more people can live happy lives, because I think that happiness radiates from happy people. It's like contagious, right? Like, we're talking about contagious diseases these days, but I think that happiness and fulfillment and all of these things are also contagious, and they really affect all the people in our circle of influence. And I think it's an amazing thing. So that's the last thing. Really know what you're after, and then decide every morning, say, okay, what's one thing that I can look at in each one of these areas? And you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect with, always working out every single day. You're not going to be perfect always improving every single section of your life, but you'll be good enough. Making a little bit of progress every day is better than doing nothing at all because you avoid it. And I think that that's a problem is people want to be perfect. People want to be absolutely perfect. And in my experience, and I've tried to be perfect before. Like that was my standard before. I was like, I must be perfect. And but the problem is that causes procrastination because like perfection it's a fine ideal, right? But it's impossible to actually achieve as a human being. Because as we expand our capacities, as we get better, as we get faster, stronger, smarter, more successful, more money in our bank account, better relationships, there's always a level above that. Because like today, like my level of perfection might be, like I've got myself 100,000 subscribers here on YouTube. I'm selling out my books. I'm doing great that way. I'm doing great with my education. I'm building my lab. I'm doing all this stuff that I want to do. And but then once I get there, like that's even like there's another summit above that. And then once I get there, then there's another summit above that. And I think that that's true for all of us in our lives. And so waiting until the conditions are just right or we've reached some point of perfection with planning or something like that, it's only going to cause us to procrastinate. The best way is just to get started. So if you're making a difficult decision, make it out, plot it out on paper, and just get started immediately. Take some sort of action to commit yourself to that decision. Okay, if you are just plotting out, kind of like your daily decisions type of thing, one that's going to draw your focus to all of these different things that you want. So in the moment, you just reviewed your goal this morning, and you're like, okay, well, it's fresh on your mind. It's hard to ignore your goals if you look at them every morning and you say, okay, what's one thing I can do in this category today? And then, the next morning you're like, oh man, I shouldn't have eaten that. I shouldn't have eaten that whole tray of brownies, right? And so yeah, make the right decisions. We all want to make the right decisions. I want to make the right decisions. And I hope that you feel that you've made the right decision in watching this video today. And if I've earned your subscription, I would appreciate you subscribing. If you have any hints, tricks, something I missed with decision making, or any videos that you want me to make, leave me a comment down below. I like to read the comments. I like to reply to the comments. I think that it's really valuable for me to read the comments because right now I'm trying to really get a good sense of my audience, right? And so anything that you write, I'm gonna read, I'm gonna respond to, and I'll probably respond to it in depth. If you have any questions about this video, let me know, and I will be sure to get you a good answer. Okay? So, this has been JR Cook, and I'll see you next time.